Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Listen, okay? I know what you're thinking from the title. If you watch any YouTube at all, you will know that if you want views, you talk about Vine, okay? And I know what you're thinking. He's a growing channel. He just wants the views, man. He needs to build that sub count. And yeah, that's valid. But listen, I have a deep love deep in my heart for Vine, okay? I love Vine, and I am not ashamed of that. You see that back there? You see that? I had that up in my first video and I completely forgot to mention it, and now I feel really awkward about it because it was just kind of there without context, and it's kind of like the only thing in my background. And so I feel weird for not mentioning it before, so I'll mention it now, and it's super relevant because that's what this video is. It is an actual metal roadwork sign that I purchased on the internet. And actually, I purchased it at drewgoodenshop.com because that is an authentic Drew Gooden roadwork sign, hand signed with the rest of the Vine, yeah, I sure hope it does. And recommend you go sub him. I think I can put that here. Maybe. So that is my prized possession, and I love that very dearly. I think Vine is a very special thing for the internet. I almost want to say, boldly speaking, that it was a turning point in internet comedy. It was a brand new format, essentially. I mean, you had short videos before, obviously, but you didn't get this compacted form of comedy anywhere else before this. And I think that's kind of cool to look back on Vine, not as, whatever opinion you may have on it, because there are a lot of opinions about Vine, but to look at it in that way, it's kind of cool to me. Anyway, so I want to talk a little bit, just a quick dab into the history of Vine and kind of what happened to it. And we're gonna lead into this brand new thing, and I don't know if you've heard about this yet, and actually I should introduce this better, so I'm gonna do that. BYTE is the brand new app that has been announced as the follow-up for Vine. So, Vine creator Dan Hoffman, or I guess co-creator, I'm not super sure about that. Creator Dan Hoffman tweeted the other day that the follow-up for Vine, otherwise previously known as V2 or Vine 2, is BYTE, and that's super exciting, and that's really, really awesome, and I'm super excited for it, but there's a lot we have to go over before this. There's a lot we need to know about Vine, where Vine came from, where Vine went, and leading into this new era. And so I obviously speak very highly of Vine, and we're gonna get into my opinion of BYTE in a little bit. But first, some context. Vine launched in 2012, and it didn't really catch on at first. And I remember this specifically because I remember being on Twitter at that time and kind of seeing it, and seeing that it had been announced and that it had been launched. And I was like, oh, wow, that's, kind of interesting or whatever. And I checked it out, and I downloaded it really early on, days after the launch. And I tried it out, and I had no idea what to do with a 7-second window of video. I had no idea what to do with that. And so after about maybe a few days to a week of me messing around with that, I deleted it, and I kind of forgot about it for a few months, I guess. I remember I was at a sleepover with a few of my friends, and one of the guys, he showed me Vine on his phone. He showed me, I believe it was Logan Paul, actually, was the very first comedy Viner that I ever saw, and I can't believe I'm saying that now in 2018, but yes, I believe that it was Logan Paul was the very first Viner that I ever saw, and I just thought that was really funny. But he kind of introduced me to what Vine had become in the time that I was away from it since its launch, and it ended up being this comedy platform, among other things. Obviously, there was a bunch of different genres on Vine, but the comedy that came out of that was the prime. It was brand new. And I don't, again, want to dramatize this into something that it's not. Vine wasn't the invention of stand-up. It's not that level of comedy, but it's it was a new era in internet comedy, like I said before, and so that was great. I got into it again after that. The point that I'm trying to make is that Vine really blew up in popularity and really got just, everybody was into it, everybody was either watching it or using it, and the peak, you know, I'd some argue 2013 to 2015 was probably like, and I know that's kind of broad, but that's the peak time of Vine. So now, fast forwarding a little bit, I want to talk about kind of my brief synopsis on why it shut down. And there's been a ton of other YouTubers who I will put like around here who have talked about this before me. And like, obviously this is one of the most talked about things on YouTube over the past year-ish or so. And I'm not gonna pretend to be the first, but these guys are kind of the inspiration for the things that I'm talking about. And so to give those a watch if you want to first before you continue, or you could watch this and then watch later, doesn't really matter. But basically, Vine shut down because, first of all, they weren't advertising. And as nice as it was to be scrolling through Vine and not have to see an ad every 3, you know, pieces of content when you do that on Instagram and everywhere else now, that was nice. That was definitely nice, but that was ultimately its downfall because it couldn't support itself financially. And so if you don't have ad revenue coming in, you know, there's not many other places that you're gonna get revenue from a platform like that. And so it kind of was just this system. And a lot of other YouTubers have talked about this point before too, but Vine became kind of a stepping off point. Vine became somewhat of a launching pad into a internet comedy career or an influencer career or a, you know, YouTube creator career or whatever. It became the first step. It was like, because it was so easy to make a Vine. Like, I think Drew Gooden was the one that put this really well. You could pull out your phone, have an idea for a Vine, and within 7 seconds have it filmed. If you wanted to edit it, you could edit it pretty quick, and if you didn't, then it was right there and it was ready to post. That is how quickly you could get it out there. And beyond that, it was just a matter of people seeing it and revining it and whatnot, and that was fast. Like, that's a fast process. There was a lot of people who got really famous really fast, and they were limited eventually by this amount of space that Vine allowed them. They were only allowed this 7 seconds to make their content, and that became kind of detrimental over time. And so from there, these creators would bring their popularity and they would move on to another platform. And a lot of them did it before Vine kind of announced that it was disbanding or whatever, and a lot of them did it after the announcement, and then a lot of them also waited until after Vine like shut down, and that was probably not the best decision on their part, but who am I to judge? Either way, whenever someone stepped up from Vine to another platform, at that point Vine was kind of doing what it was supposed to do in a way. That was its function to a lot of creators. So anyway, that is a brief synopsis on why Vine shut down. Again, I'll put links in the description too of all these different videos that kind of talk about it way better than I could from people more experienced than me. And so now we're here. We are in 2018 where Vine compilations run rampant on the internet and they're just everywhere, and they're like a noxious weed. They just kind of grow everywhere, out of every corner of your internet garden. And Vine culture in itself is just so huge, and it's become so much more huge after Vine died. It has really just become a part of millennial mainly. Gen Z to an extent. Gen Z is more TikTok and musically. So much of millennial culture is rooted in this kind of comedy now. And like, that's not the only type of comedy, I keep saying that, but like, it's a huge part of millennial comedy as a whole, is what I'm trying to say. Now we're given the question, where do we go from here? And obviously, the first answer that's gonna pop into somebody's mind automatically is like, oh my gosh, bring it back. You know, Vine 2 is what everybody's been asking for. Back early this year, Dan Hoffman tweeted that he was working on a Vine 2, and that obviously blew up the internet. And what I heard through the YouTube grapevine or whatever is that it kind of lost funding. They didn't have enough money to create it at the time, and so the project just kind of fell back and was put on the back burner. But now it's back, and it is called BYTE, as we mentioned. The hype is just starting to grow. This was just a few days ago that this was announced, and now we're left to ponder, what is BYTE going to be? what is its intentions as an app? Like, that's it. That's what we want to know. Because if your intention as an app, BYTE, I'm talking to you here, is to be Vine 2, or even to be Vine, that is not a good thing, okay? Because Vine was Vine, and then Vine died, okay? And what we're left with is a choice. We could go with a sequel, and we all know how sequels can turn out. Or we can build something new. And I think we can all agree that this is going to be the best option for BYTE, because in order for it to be as successful as Vine, and obviously that's what we all want it to be popular. We all want to see the content that's going to come out of this new app. Like, we're all super excited for it, but we don't want it to be Vine, at least in my opinion, and I feel like that's the general opinion now. We have already had Vine, and now we need something new. And BYTE, I hope, is going to do something different, something that's gonna wow us like Vine wowed us back in 2012. All that we know about BYTE right now is that it's an app, looping video app. That is what it's called. According to this tweet from Dan Hoffman, our new looping video app is called BYTE, launching spring 2019. That is all that we know about it. And then the BYTE Twitter account that was created just has a little wave emoji on it, so that's cute. Ultimately, it comes down to the content that's gonna be put onto the app. It doesn't focus solely on the app itself, like the format or whatever. Yes, that's important, that's what I've been stressing, but it's also the content. Because if you think about it, TikTok,
hit or miss, I guess they never miss, huh?
Is doing really well. But it's doing really well because it's become like a troll central. I'm not gonna make that video either. I'm not gonna talk about TikTok today. I'm just not gonna do it. But that is the threat that we're facing with BYTE, is that it's gonna become the next TikTok. What we do with that information is up to us. So get excited for BYTE. Start planning your looping video ideas. I know that I live my life constantly creating Vine scenarios in my head. If you live life like me, you're probably pretty excited, regardless of the hype and regardless of the controversy and regardless of the naysayers. Let's, yeah, that's it. That's the end. That's the end of my video. That's all that I had to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. You could have picked any one of millions of videos on this website today, and you decided to click on this one, and so I really appreciate that. And so if you plan on coming back, please give me a subscribe and hit that notification bell, hit that like hit that like button, and comment anything. Comment anything. Anything. Thanks you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.